Okay, so today we're going to talk about how construction works and what each building does in Hearthstone 4. So basically, if you press this little tab up here, you're given everything that is usually normally constructed in Holy 4. So we have state buildings, shared buildings, and province buildings. And I'm going to go over what each one does. So for state buildings, we have infrastructure. So let's say our army is to be far away from Moscow. So Moscow is our capital, and supply always comes from the capital of your country. So let's say we have our units over here in Germany or France. As they get further and further away from Moscow, their supply is going to get thinner and thinner. And so basically, your supply is this little map here. So I have all my divisions as of in place in here in this one province. And so over time, as they're attacking enemies, they're losing men, they're losing weapons, they're needing more supplies from Moscow. And so the supply, if your area is too full of people, is going to reduce that, and you're not be able to get supplies, and you're going to start losing. And also, infrastructure is used to improve something such as the amount of steel you can produce here, for example. And so once we build that up, we get an extra 10 steel, or we get an extra 2 rubber. And so that's basically how infrastructure works for basically. And air bases, these are used to store your planes in. It's sometimes going to be used for upgrades. So right now, this shows where all of our airplanes are actually at and our actual air bases. So let's say we want to upgrade a certain air base, such as this one, which is 600. We can always upgrade that. Find it. We can always upgrade it. And when we upgrade it, it increases the capacity it can hold. So now it can hold 2,000 airplanes that I can put there. So that's what air bases are usually used for, and you can also build more as you keep going along doing your conquest. It's used to transfer your planes there. Radars are used in a later game, or if you're in a country. I think the UK starts out with them, but they're used to spy basically on your neighbors. So radar stations, as you can see, up to this green line over here is the max location we can see, and we can see what each nation divisions are doing. So as of right now, we can see where the Polish troops are and where parts of Germany and the Czechoslovakian troops are. Before you construct these, you will not know where any of these people are, and you wouldn't know how many there were, unless they're right on exactly on your border. And that's basically what radar is used for. Anti-air is used for countering airplanes, basically. And say you want to put these in major areas like Kiev and Minsk and Moscow, based for example. And when you have your airplanes up as well, basically it's just going to help you defend that area more effectively. Going on to shared buildings, we have civilian factories, military factories. Civilian factories are basically your lifeline to construction. So as you can see here, we have consumer goods and traded goods. And so basically, right now, usually you start off on civilian economy. As you see before, we had 45, now we have 80 consumer goods. And so basically what happens is part of your civilian factories goes to your own people, so you cannot use those, and some of it will go to traded goods, which is used to get more supplies in if we don't have any, which right now we have basically everything. And so, as you can see here, civilian factories, they're used to build everything basically, and so over here, so over here we have 15 out of 15 and almost all of these besides this last one, which that is basically used to construct everything. All of these are civilian factories that are being used. That's why we have a max 176 out of 176, basically because we're using all of them for either consumer goods, trade goods, or building stuff. 15 out of 15 just means we're using the max amount of factories we can. So once that's done, those factories are now done being used, and they'll go down this one, and if not, they will just sit there and wait for another order that you do. Military factories are used to produce weapons for your nation. So, as you see here, we can set them to different levels if we wanted to. And so basically, the more you put, if you look at this green thing here as I move my cursor over, it will show you more guns that we can produce each time. And if we keep increasing that, we can see what each one does. And so that helps us increase our production for each thing. And that basically goes for the same thing as naval and naval dockyards, which must be placed on the border of the ocean. Basically, that's used to produce your submarines, convoys, and all your ships. And so basically, The more you put there, it increases the date that it can be done by. So as of right now, it can be done 16th of March. If we put 1 there, it can be done 25th of March. And so that's basically how naval and military work. Synthetic refineries are used to get rubber and fuel. So as you see up here, we have full fuel as of right now. But fuel is used to keep your navy going, your airplanes going, and your army going. And basically, if you are using all of them at the same time, basically if you're trying to go to war with someone, that's going to drain out very quickly. And so you want to build more of these. The more you build, the more you can produce. Fuel silos, they're used to keep up your production. So if you are building more, getting more fuel than you can actually hold, the more of these you build, the more fuel you can actually hold. Rocket sites, they are used to basically launch further attacks into like Germany and France. I'm pretty sure you can use them with nuclear bombs. I'm not sure about that one. And nuclear reactors are actually used to build the nuclear bombs. So right now, I already have a couple of them constructed. Next, over here, it tells you how many we are producing. So basically, right now we have 10 to build. We're getting 2.7% each day. So right in 8 days, we'll have 1 nuclear bomb. And it varies based on how many you have. Going into province buildings, we have naval bases, which are used to store your navy. So right here, I'm pretty sure, we have a 10 out of 10 naval base, which is the max you can build. And basically this holds most of our actual navy, and that can be used to deploy to the Baltic Sea. We also have one down here in the Black Sea, and I'm pretty sure, yep, one up here in the Barents Sea. And so the more these you build, it's easier to get your navy from point A to point B. So basically, if you want to build one over here, you can store a better navy in the Black Sea, or if you're doing that one up here, you can store more in the Baltic Sea. Land forts are used to defend more effectively, and so if we were to place a couple of these down, I didn't see. So basically, this will defend 30. This will take 30% of the attack off of your divisions, and this will take 15%. It adds on 15% with each build you do. So basically, if you're defending along this area here, it's going to be harder for them to push. It boosts your defense more, and so it's going to make them hard to get in. When you're building land forts, be careful not to build level 10 forts like up here. If you build level 10 forts, basically the AI and players, they're not going to attack the area because it is basically impossible to punch through, just like Imagine them, which is why Germany went along to beating them. And so basically, that's how land forts work. Coastal forts are basically the same thing, but for navy and naval invasions. So if we were to have a couple of our units down here, if we had them garrison these tiles right here with the coastal forts, it'll take off 50% of the attack from a naval invasion each time. And that is basically how construction works. This basically converts civilian factories to military factories. I never really use it. You probably won't need to use it. And so that's basically how each one works. And I'll see you guys on the next